Hi, my name's Chris. I'm from the number one support workers advice line, and I'm here today talking about building relationships with clients and workmates. The number one tenet of building relationships is showing respect, showing genuine and authentic respect. We do this in displaying respect, and I'm going to talk about that here today with you. If you meet a client for the first time and you think you're not getting along, try showing some displays of respect, e.g., be calm, show that you're listening, engage in good conversation, listen, show that you're listening, get your stance right, get front on, make sure that you're showing the person you're with them, not in a frightening sort of confrontational way, but make sure that you can show that you're able to be competent in taking on what they've got to share with you. A lot of people have people forced on them, have workers forced on them, have had bad experiences of having workers forced on them, telling them what to do, come from parents which have always told them what to do, come from service providers which have always told them what they should do and how they should be, and reacted quite heightened, quite angrily, or quite even showing anger is disrespectful. Even showing annoyance, even showing a lack of calm when meeting a person shows disrespect. They want to know that you're someone they can rely on in the future, come what may. They want to know that you're someone who they can depend on. They want to know that they can approach you when there's a problem or when they can't communicate properly. This is what your job is. Your job is to be able to work alongside the client, giving them advice every now and then, maybe some accidental counselling if you've got that skill, and if your manager is if your manager has the skills to manage you delivering that sort of service. So you think you're not getting along, just take it easy. Not too easy, because you're getting paid to professionally engage, but just give it a chance. Try not to be too affronted or too put off by the testing behavior of the person you're talking to, the way that they might try to put you off, the way that they might try to get in your head. Those things calm down with time. That testing behavior when you initially get to know a client or other workers, or certainly people who work under you, those sort of things will edge off if you remain calm, considered, and with a view to you're there to help and you're capable of helping. When I step into a workplace environment, I make sure that I'm warm, I'm feeling warm. I'm displaying that outwardly, that I'm a warm person. I have a think about how I'm going to display that. It's eye contact, but not too much. Oh, that would have freaked you out. Not too much, but I'm appropriate in how I make eye contact. If a person isn't comfortable with eye contact, I'll be able to assess that and slide in um, with respect. I'll slide into the conversation with a common thread, or have you heard of this, or anyway, not being too confrontational. So a stance might be, if the client is willing, the client might be willing to have eye contact and have a deep interaction. But if they're not, then maybe sit down alongside and introduce something you can do together. This is in the first in the inner the first sort of times that you're engaging with somebody. Your aim is to build relationship. Make eye contact, address them by their name, work out what their name is if need be. Have a conversation, respectfully sign off. I've got to go do this now. Moving forward, I'm here to help. I'm here to, well, not just here to help, I'm here for you. I'm here to help with things that you may not even realize that you need help with. Also, I will let them know that I'm part of the team that works with them. So I'll let them know the common. I'll use the commonalities in the names of who I'm sent by, who I report to, who I will be working alongside, working for you. Professional yet easygoing, congenial appearance. So I'll make sure that I'm well presented, well manicured. If I've got to wear a shirt, I'll wear a shirt. Make sure my hands are I'm trimmed in my fingernails, and I'm clean, and I have a competent, well put together appearance. I refrain from wearing tracksuits to work or sneakers or things like that. It's just not, in my mind, it's not work. Well, if I'm in a casual sort of house setting, I might wear my runners with a pair of jeans, but it'll be a casual, smart sort of appearance. I will be appropriate too. If I've got to wear a jacket outside, I'll make sure that I come and inside and hang that where it needs to hang, and I'll make my presence known, that I'm able to present well. And I'll be if I'm attending a allied health appointment with somebody, or a psychiatry appointment, or going to parole, or whatever I'm doing, I'll dress accordingly. I will wear business attire if need be. If I'm going to advocate for someone at the magistrate's court, I'll wear a blazer and a shirt. So making sure that and nice shoes, making sure that I'm clearly aware that I'm advocating for the client. I need to build trust. I need to be able to go through the motions of the testing behavior that might come up for a client or other staff. I need to be able to let them know that we're in a professional work setting, and that we are able to deal with issues as they arise. A client needs to know that they can trust me with confidential information. I can outline in the very beginning how I maintain confidentiality and privacy for clients. in a challenging advice giving session, maybe about some behaviors that are coming up, we can talk about, oh look, this doesn't have to be reported to your elderly parents. You don't have to worry about these things. You're in a setting now which promotes independent living, and therefore you have permission to try things. And then advice could be given to in a normal advice giving session, could be given that, but we could try this because it's not what you're doing is antisocial, or you've got to find the right words, of course. You've got to find that easy speak line that you can relate to the client. Most clients will relate to not being dobbed on. Most clients will relate to not being, to their old keepers being made aware of what's been happening. You can let people know that you're going to treat their information and their behaviours with respect and confidentiality, but also to let them know that you will talk to the other trusted members of supervisory staff. We do this with a consistent approach. So being consistent may entail letting the person know what you're going to do next, and then checking in with the person and giving them an update on what happened and what indeed happened, who you reported to, and what they may have thought of, or what the other person you reported to thought of, and then you can employ the person who you reported to come in and sort of have a sit down and let them know that it's all okay. It's part of a consistent approach. Regularly checking in with and articulating, using words which you used in the beginning. Checking in that it's okay, we're still journeying with this particular issue. Here's the end in sight. Here's the hope that's going to be in sight. Making sure you're present. So when you say you're going to be somewhere, you're there. I'll check in with you. So thanks for taking on this advice today. This is what we're going to do about it. I'll come and check with you tomorrow or the next day or next time I'm here. I'll come in and check in with you. And when you come back in, check in really gently. Hey, you're not sort of going, oh, I've got you. I know exactly what's going on here. Nothing like that. Just a gentle inquiry. How's that going for you? And really carrying it right through. So you're journeying with the client in a consistent way and really taking it all the way to fruition. And when you're reporting on the outcome, the outcome talks about the growth, the development, what we learnt, what you learnt as a worker, and what the client has said that they learnt, and then a positive spin on what could really be going on a long-term sort of basis. Coming across as genuine and authentic. So really, doing it with a little bit of passion, maybe a bit of umming and ahhing, maybe a bit of, not being the expert, not being the smarty pants, and using those disclaimers in there, like I'm not trying to be funny, or I'm not, I don't want to be smart about this, but could this be happening for you? Could this be, you want to be, you're not hiding behind that power dynamic that's ever present, the power dynamic of you're the you're the keeper and that you can report anywhere else and you can blow this out of the water if you wanted to. Not at all imparting those ideas, but being more reaching the person at their level, being with the person, journeying through the the unvarying the inevitable sort of suffering that they might be going through. Being authentic involves a few disclaimers here and there, a bit of sort of brightness, a bit of expression. You can do it like I do, nervously with my hands, gesticulating, or you can, use your eyes to show concern, or yeah. Also, another one is the cadence of conversation. If you've got a heightened situation you need to deal with, come in really quietly and calmly. Regulate yourself, regulate your breathing, regulate your speech. Having already formulated what your next discussion is going to be about, just those key things gently delivered. Keep the conversation about what's important. So the client that has things that are important to them, you want to have recognized. You want to have sought guidance from your learned peers and supervisors on what's really important here. Use your intuition and your gut instinct on the direction of advice, what to do next, drawing up a contract of what you want to do next. You can talk about their values. You can talk about how you know that they value the respect of their sister or their mum, or their, what's important in their lives, and you can reflect that back to them. Usually it's family. Most often is family, or past relationships, someone they admire within the family. Try not to draw too many straws there. Sharing good food and company, promoting good company, good interactions, having a good laugh around a dinner table is a wonderful way to build relationships. Making overt, if you notice an interaction, you can point that back to the person and say, hey, did you notice what that person said about you, or what they did for you? Or so highlighting the communication styles of people around them and how they're showing their authentic self, their genuineness in wanting to interact, and how much they care for that individual. They might be a ball of sufferance and despair, which just needs that outward input directed at them. The positivity, the hope should be turned toward them and highlighted. We're looking for... That can happen at a dinner table. That can happen with over good food. That can happen with the service to others. It might be their cooking night. They might have prepared this wonderful meal, but they can come and serve it to the table of peers, and we can all rejoice and sing their praises on how great that meal was, and how the little things that are able to be touched on and reflected back to the individual, such as, I really like the way you came in on the left of that person and ladled the bake onto their plate. You were very gentle in that, and it shows that you really respect who you were serving. When they're puffed up with pride, when they're puffed up with happy thoughts, puffed up with a sense of self, when the stress has dripped off their face, when the energy in the room has shifted because of something they did, we can say to them, "Hey, I noticed what you did there." This can happen around a dinner table. Being genuine and authentic, so you might want to share something about yourself. You might want to share what you can invite your family in. You can invite the kids over, or you can invite your partner in, or spending some quality, easy time with with those people that you care for, which are so vulnerable. Inviting them into your world, inviting them into your world, your values system, your heart. Letting them know you're thinking about them occasionally, not too laden, not too sort of don't overdo it, but letting them know, I had that thought the other day. I was up in, I went to the park and I noticed that. Some kids were playing soccer. I know you're really into soccer, and I was thinking of you on that day. Something you could pull out of your hat. Promoting faith. Promoting, if a person's a Christian, you can promote. You can talk about religion. You can talk about what you know of religion. You can talk about things that are relevant to you, things that make you happy about faith and spirituality. You can talk about your values. You can talk about what means things to you. You can talk about walking your dog. Everybody loves dogs and cats. So, but when you're doing all this, you need to ensure that they are aware that you're on your work time. I like to use the term professional friend. So when it sort of starts, when you get that feeling, when you get that idea that it's getting a bit much and you need to pull it back, then you introduce the notion of I'm paid in a capacity of a professional friend. I'm here to be friendly and engaging with you, and I'm here to share, but I'm also a professional and I have boundaries. The professional friend. Placement of yourself alongside somebody. So being able to really get that they feel comfortable with you, checking in for the subtle cues that they feel comfortable with you and they're happy for you to be alongside. Get alongside. Don't get in their personal space. Oh, so there's the thing about personal space, is being aware that respectfully I'll stand back and give you your space. Being really getting to know, everybody should have personal space. We should never really get in there and have those tough discussions up front and center. We should always be sort of sitting back calmly, using manners, platitudes, please, thank you, appropriate manners, not overdoing it, you're such a great person, not any of these things, but really letting people know that they are on your level and they're on the level of anyone else. Using manners, you could even use titles of sir, not sure about ma'am and those sort of things, because some people aren't really into that, but sir is really showing respect to another man. And it goes down pretty well in Middle Australia. Addressing by their first name as well. So really, no buddy, no pal, no lad, you're a good boy. None of this patronising crap. addressing people by their name, and addressing by people by their name in emails as well. So when you're talking about not the guys in the house, that's just kills me, that one. So it's just addressing them by their individual name, propping them up as an individual who does have an identity. How I communicate with others about the client, what you do in private is who you are in public. And what I'd say about that is I'd have private thoughts about an individual, and I'm going to make them public. If I have to report on status or outcomes or how a review process, how things are going, I will let people know that I'm doing it in a strengths-based, positive frame. And I will be addressing them by their first name. I'll be talking about them with a view to development. If I get into the practice of that, as I am in the practice of that, then that spills over into how I actually interact with the person and the team around them. If I keep it positive, first name basis, propping up their identity, then everybody else starts doing that too. We don't minimize by saying that those guys over there. We don't do that. So when I'm interacting with a client, I'll talk about what's next. I'll talk about what we've agreed on and how they'd like to move forward. And we could do that in a written form, or we could do that in the case note when we're reviewing the case note together, writing it together at the end of the session, or when I'm giving advice and reporting it up if it's a bit of an issue and I have to report to my seniors. I'll let them know. I'll let them know what we're going to do next. Building relationships is also about giving assurances that I'm going to respect them as individuals, I'm going to prop up their identity, and that I'm going to follow through with what we discussed, what we have agreed upon, and I'm not going to step out of those rules of engagement that we've agreed upon. Anyway, so it's a big one, the building relationships, and thanks for listening. I appreciate your time, and it's getting dark outside, so the light is changing. Yep, thanks for having me. It's good to see you again.